Let's continue now with part 2 of the speaking exam, or the long turn. Okay, what you're going to be given is 3 pictures, or 2 pictures, okay? Varies sometimes. And what you need to do is compare 2 of the pictures, okay? Be very careful here that you don't describe the picture. Okay, we don't want to know that we can see a man in a black coat walking down the street. This is not comparing at all. So what you need to do here is compare the pictures. Okay, there is always a second part to the question as well, where they ask what might they be feeling, what might they be doing. Okay, we need to then express from our opinion, what we think is happening to that person in the picture. You need to speak for a minute in this part when you are comparing your 2 pictures. Remember again, like your first answer, work on a couple of sentences that you can say. Very often when we are nervous, we speak faster. Okay. You'll be surprised at how much you can say in a minute, okay? At the time when you are looking at a stopwatch, watching the clock count down, it feels like it goes on forever, okay? It is actually quite long, 1 minute, when you are speaking about something. So again, look at, depending on the pace of your talking, I would say about 4 or 5 sentences, particularly if you are a bit nervous and you are going to speak quickly. If you are able to slow yourself down a little bit, maybe 3 or 4 sentences. But again, in your preparation, get out a stopwatch, get your phone, it doesn't matter, look on the internet and time yourself. You will be really amazed by how much you can say in a minute. The important thing here too is keep talking. Okay, do not stop short. Don't speak for 30 seconds or 40 seconds and then waste 20 seconds of your time. Okay? Make sure that you go through this a few times on your own and time yourself, and then you will get a very good idea of how much you can say in a minute. So remember now with this part, okay, you are given your pictures and you are asked to compare the pictures. Okay, you don't need to say which ones you have chosen. In the way that you are talking about the pictures, it should become apparent to the examiner and to the person who's sitting next to you who's also in the exam which ones you are talking about. If you feel you need to indicate it, just show with your hand. Just point to the pictures. Okay. Some very nice and very simple tips here are the 3 words below. When you are comparing, use both. Okay, so in both the pictures, we can see 2 men that look slightly angry. We could start with, in the first picture, we have a large flock of doves. Whereas in the second picture, we can see a field with cows. While in the first picture, the sky is very overcast and stormy. In the second picture, it is a sunny blue sky. So remember these 3 words, okay? They will make your sentence much easier if you frame it around that, okay? And then you know that you are comparing. The first part of the question, compare the pictures. Don't describe them. So it gives you a good base to start from. There's always a second part to the question as well. Why might they be doing that? What might the people be feeling? What might be more stressful for the person in the picture? Okay. Most of the pictures are going to have people in them. Sometimes, very occasionally, maybe not, but a lot of the times there will be people in them, so you can prepare for that. Compare what is happening in the situations, okay, and then use again your thoughts, your opinions, and why might they be doing that? What could they be doing? Yeah. When you're also talking about the pictures, you will hear I'm using it now when I'm speaking, present continuous. Because when you are looking at these pictures, it is as if it is happening now in the pictures when you are busy comparing them. So you will find you will be or should be using present continuous when you are talking about those pictures and what the people are doing, what the people might be thinking. Okay. So make sure you get your tense right. Of course, grammar is important. Okay. And then use both of them. Show this. Okay. Whereas in the one we find people look very unhappy, very sad, perhaps traumatized. In the other one, it seems to be some sort of celebration. A lot of joyful people dancing. While in the one, we can see this and this. In the other one, it shows this and this. Okay. So there's your basis to start with. Again, time yourself. Okay. Practice this a few times and time yourself. You will be very surprised how much you need to say to take up a full minute. Okay. Give yourself the practice on the timing. It will give you an idea of how many sentences you should look at preparing for an answer. And then again, just remember to impress. Remember your vocabulary. Okay. Build in different types of sentences if you can, some idioms to describe things, and use your both, your whereas and your while. Okay. Do not describe the pictures. Very important. Okay. I've seen it time and again with students. This is how they start when they come to me for lessons. They describe the pictures. Compare the pictures. Okay. Both whereas while. Okay. Even though you will be describing a little bit, you will be comparing because you're using those words when you start. Don't talk about what people are wearing or the situation they're in. Think about the feelings, the atmosphere, the emotions, perhaps the history of it, cultural traditions. Okay? This is what we want to be comparing and describing. More ethereal things. Okay? Not a physical appearance in any way. But as a last sort of social note on this one, remember that when you're doing your CAE exam, there will be another person with you who is also doing the exam. Okay, you have the examiner plus someone else who's also going for their certificate. When you're describing these pictures, I should stop saying that, comparing these pictures, listen to also what the other person is saying, who's also doing their exam. Because the examiner is going to ask you one question about their pictures. Same as after you finish talking, he is going to ask, or she is going to ask them a question about your pictures. So don't be too focused on the pictures itself. Remember, you are describing this to the examiner and to the person sitting next to you. And when they are speaking, listen to them. Listen to what they are saying, because you're going to get asked a question. So you need to be listening enough to be able to respond with your own thought, okay, on what that other person has said.